What's cracking, YouTube? Jamil here, and today we are going to talk about the truth about solar. All right, guys, so first I want to just put this out there. As a result of this video, if I end up dead, buried in a desert somewhere, or mysteriously disappear, or I end up missing under suspicious circumstances, or somebody says I've gone on an extended vacation, or I get set up in some weird criminal thing, it's very likely the solar industry. Because today, I'm gonna talk about the truth about solar. Does it actually help? Does it increase property value? Does it make your home more desirable? Does it increase buyer demand? Does it actually save you money every single month? Maybe you've been having these questions. Perhaps somebody has come and knocked on your door and pitched you all of these benefits. But today we're gonna really unpack that. We're gonna look at the truth about these claims and whether or not solar is actually good for you. So let's dive in. Now, of course, one of the most favorite lines that our friends who go door to door selling solar have to pitch is there is a tremendous amount of monthly savings when you switch from regular electric to solar electric. And so I did some research and I went to find out just how much on average the US household saves per month as a result of having solar. And when I went to our great friend ChatGPT and Google Gemini, who went and scoured the internet for all of the data across the United States, we came to find out that the average monthly savings for using solar is roughly $120 to $150 per month, which on the surface seems like a pretty good deal, right? I'd love to save $120 to $150 per month on my electric bill, especially here in Arizona, where I got that AC going and it's constantly on, even in the winter, especially in the summer, and those bills can get pretty heavy. But if I'm saving $120 to $150, what's the cost associated with that? So every solar typically comes with a solar lease. You gotta pay for those panels. They're just not gonna magically show up, install themselves on your roof, and be free. No. They come with a lease. Yes, a lease, friends. And the average solar lease expense per month across the United States households is between $230 to $250 a month. Yes, $230 to $250 a month is the cost of the solar lease. But we have a savings of $120 to $150 per month, which really doesn't add up, does it? Because the net loss per month when you factor in the lease payment is around $100 a month. So when we're talking about monthly savings to your utility bill, it's not really there. Because yes, your utility bill has gone down, and that's the stat they love to tell you, that you're gonna save anywhere from $120 to $150 a month. And that's for the average good-sized American home. But when you have a lease payment of $230 to $250 a month for a net loss of $100, there was no monthly savings. So when we turn to our trusty plus or minus chart, which I've made plenty of decisions on since grade school, we unfortunately have to give a check mark to the negative column because unfortunately there's no monthly savings. Well, maybe there's going to be something better here. So let's look at property value. Of course, a home has to be worth more money when it has this incredibly expensive $60,000 solar installation onto your roof. That has to be an increase in property value, shouldn't it? Well, let's think about that. Now, of course, once the lease is totally paid off and those payments are no more, that is a beautiful asset to have on your roof. Of course, you're going to be saving on average $120 to $150 a month. And so, of course, I think that once the lease is paid off, you have a net benefit. But those leases are very long term. And the average American stays in their home 5 to 7 years, meaning it is highly unlikely that you are going to be the beneficiary of a paid off solar lease. Now, if you're not the beneficiary of a paid-off solar lease, shouldn't it still increase your property value, making people want to come to your home in droves to buy your property? Well, not so fast. Because what ends up happening to property value is that it decreases. Here's why. A solar lease costing anywhere between $230 to $250 a month is added to the DTI, the debt to income ratio of your potential buyer. Now, when we have interest rates as high as 7% right now in today's current market, it's already hard enough for buyers to qualify to purchase your home. People are having to add extra family members, get co-signers. They're needing to increase how much money they make. They're having to decrease their debt loads. They are doing every type of gymnastics that they could possibly do in order to qualify for their loans, because of course course, we haven't seen incredible gains in our income. We've just seen incredible gains in property value. And because interest rates are through the roof, that means affordability is down. Now, if you have an additional $230 to $250 a month in payments that are required and that actually impact your debt to income ratio, your DTI, that means that fewer borrowers can actually qualify to purchase your house. And what ends up happening when you have fewer buyers? Actually, demand decreases. And if demand decreases, what happens to property value? You're right. If you said it goes down, you're following along pretty well here. So again, when we go back to our plus or minus chart, property value doesn't actually go up. It actually goes down. And if you want to check this, call a real estate agent, not a solar seller, but call a real estate agent and ask them, friend, is it easier or is it harder to sell a house with solar? And I will tell you, 10 out of 10 times, your real estate agent will tell you it is way harder. Those leases are incredibly difficult to qualify for. And of course, they add to a person's debt to income ratio. And so that means that they can qualify for less house. And solar has killed more deals than any other thing that I've seen on a retail sale. And so it absolutely is atrocious for property value. In fact, as a wholesaler, I love it when there is solar on a house. Why? Because there's fewer buyers, which means I have less competition, which means I get to make my offer whatever I want it to be. And if the seller is in a desperate spot and needs to sell, well, I'm gonna get that house for a lot less money. So as a wholesaler, I kind of like having solar there because it allows me to buy the house for a lot less money. But it is definitely not a benefit to the seller, just a benefit to this guy over here. So again, guys, property value, it's a for solar. All right, well, let's take a look at desirability. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this before, but if you ever look at a roof, a beautiful asphalt or tile roof, maybe even a metal roof, there's all these different types of material that they use for roofing products these days. Well, these roofs can be pretty beautiful if they're architecturally designed. But solar panels, on the other hand, aren't that pretty. And if you've ever looked at a roof that has a bunch of solar panels on it, it's actually not that nice to look at. And when the installers come and put those panels on your roof, guess what they're doing to your roof? Drilling holes in it. Now, I don't know about you, but roofs shouldn't have holes in them. And if they do, they might have a leak. And so you have a higher likelihood of your roof being damaged by the solar than not. And it has a less attractive curb appeal when there's all these solar panels hanging out on your roof. Ask yourself, you've seen a solar, you've seen it on a roof. Do you think it's better looking or do you think it's worse looking? And so I would also say for property desirability, we're gonna have to do another negative check. I don't think solar looks all that great. And the guys who are coming to install the solar on your roof, you might wanna check their arm for track marks. Sorry, just saying it. All right, let's go to DTI, debt to income ratio. Now, of course, if you're not in the lending industry or in real estate, you may really be confused about what this means, but that just means what is the amount of debt to income that you have and what lenders use as a factor in determining how much home you can actually qualify for. They're looking at DTI. Now, we've already talked about this earlier, but if you have an additional $230 to $250 added on to your payment every single month, well, that's actually going to decrease the amount of house that you can buy. And that's going to decrease it by roughly $20,000. So let's look at what that payment of $230 to $250 will actually do to your purchasing power as a buyer. Well, again, if we go and reference our incredible genius friend, ChatGPT, we can find out that a $250 a month payment, when applied to your DTI, will actually decrease your purchasing power by roughly $40,000. 40,000 bucks. That could be the difference of a pool. That could be the difference of an entire bedroom. That could be the difference of an entire bathroom in a house. That could be the entire difference of a renovated kitchen or a renovated primary bedroom. Yes, you could have all of these beautiful things if you didn't have that extra $250 a month payment on your butt. So your purchasing power decreases by $40,000 as a result of that $230 to $250 a month payment. And so again, we're gonna have to give a negative check. in the solar box. Now, I don't know about you friends, but in most decisions that I've made in my life, they typically have one positive. I don't see one. So the next time that handsome person comes knocking on your door, hawking their solar, telling you that they're gonna help you make your home more desirable, more affordable, make your house the best house on the block, increase the desirability of your home, and make your payments so much better every single month, people will be lining up in droves to buy your house. The answer should be, get the f out of here. In conclusion, my friends, my results here will tell you that the truth about solar is that it is one big scam. Hate to say it, but it's true. Guys, I'd love to hear your opinions on this matter, and all of you solar salesmen, please leave me a comment. Tell me how much you hate me. Tell me how you're gonna kill me. Tell me how you're gonna do all kinds of crazy things to me. But the reality is, don't tell me you're gonna do any of these things that aren't gonna work, because you and I both know it's total bull. Guys, if you like this video, do me a favor, leave me a comment, and also like this and share this with a friend who is determining or maybe making a decision on whether or not they should fall for this scam or not. We'll see you in the next one. Oh, and if you're gonna say it's better for the environment, global warming isn't real. Yes, it is. Just kidding. This was just about money.